Hey guys, welcome back. Pretty irrelevant, kind of sideways week, given that it was kind of a holiday week. Last week we discussed this channel, and you can see we pretty much have not broken down. We have come down to, the bottom of the channel, not a perfect touch, right? But trading is not a game of perfect, as Sam likes to say. But again, as long as we stay above this channel, we will, continue pushing up. I would say, yeah, next targets above 5330 would be 5350, then 5370, all the way to the top of the channel. This is obviously the trigger to go short when the channel breaks. But so far, we have just been continuing to move higher until there is a signal. There's no point to short. But what is interesting is, the market is kind of showing you signs that things are getting a little hard under the surface. You can see the dollar. This was our level to bounce off of. You can see we did have that bounce. And now we've pretty much pushed up against resistance on the dollar. So we would obviously need a break above 105, and that would probably actually trigger selling in the market. So far, this is a good first step, but again, would need a lot more follow through. On the other hand, you can see that the yields are, breaking down. And this actually, is bullish for the market. So there's our two contracting signals. And yeah, it would kind of depend to see whether the yields would kind of bounce off the bottom of this channel or whether it breaks that. Again, we'll kind of give you a clue on how the market is going to proceed. And we can also look at the wicks for clues. And again, the wicks have always stated that I think the yellow line is likely going to happen, given that we rejected so many times. So I'm still looking for this to touch 11 bucks at the bottom of this channel. So the wicks definitely looks market bullish. The wicks does not tell me. But again, this is if this yellow line breaks. You can see we pretty much have not broken this line in more than a year. Yeah, it's been way more. The last time we broke that was in 2018. So yeah, don't just blind, because this entire thing can be an A, a B, and a C. Before it comes down, we know that this is a bigger channel. So this 12.51 breaks, then it's we're likely going to keep selling lower. But, we could hold off. You can see here, this is a pretty significant support level. So we are kind of at an important juncture in the market. And based on, how we operate there, we kind of know whether we're going to break down from this channel, whether we're going to break down from this channel, or whether we're just going to continue going in the channel for now. But I am always looking to see when weakness may strike. So I'll let you know as soon as I see it. And Google, the first stock I have is Google again. I am leaning more bullish in the sense I'm looking at literally what could happen in the next week or the next 3, 4 trading days. Like that's how far my hindsight is at this point, because everyone knows it's overbought and everyone knows it's going to come down, but you can only trade what you see in the smaller time frame. So I still do think that Google, if it can, you can see here, this 152 level is kind of resistance. So weekly resistance. So if it can break over 152, we can definitely push to 155 and 165. We could also we see that there is a gap to fill. So I won't be surprised if it fills the gap and then it bounces. So you could watch for both. Go to the 4-hour time frame on Google. You can draw this pennant this way. And depending on the way it breaks, right? If it breaks below 148.76, then it'll test 145 and come down to fill this gap at 141. If it can break over 152, then we're going to head to 155, 160 as indicated. So that's that. Let's look at MRK on the daily chart. The reason I kind of have this as a potential short, it did have a nice earnings gap up. It could, again, maybe have 1 or 2 bullish days, but this does look like a wave 5 to me. So I am either it breaks 132 to come down to fill this gap, or I do think that it could have a couple more bullish days before it comes down. So could definitely keep an eye out for this on MRK. Like I do think at least, let me zoom out. You'll be able to see why I think so. Like you can see here, this trend line that I've drawn has acted as significant. You can see here resistance many times in the past. So I'm sure earnings was good, which is why it gapped up. So generally when things do gap up on really good earnings, it can, hold the gap and push higher. So again, I mean, you could play it that way too. Like if it can break over 133, it could go up to test 136, 137, but probably wouldn't try to chase it more than that. It could, the alternate is this is your 1-2. We're still on a wave 4, it comes over the wave 4, and then it goes up for a 5. That is also possible before it has a much bigger sell-off. So you can keep an eye on both cases. A break of 132 before the gap break over that, we hit the higher levels. But yeah, be very careful. I am leaning more bearish than bullish. The reason for that is this is a pretty significant channel. So as you can see on the daily, we are kind of just hovering over it. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out on MRK. The next one that I have is actually Square. And again, it's kind of similar to Google, right? Against weekly resistance, you break out above 85, go up to test 90 and maybe 95, but I just have up to 90 because it's a pretty clear path to 90. And again, you can see it's a weekly resistance, so I'll have to do some work there. So yeah, just very similar to Google, had a bunch of inside days. So it can break above 85, it can go higher. And again, an inside day can go both ways. You break below 82, and we're definitely going to come down. So those are your bullish and bearish pivots on Square. And last but not the least, I have a bearish on HSI, on BABA, PDD. So they have been working. So why don't we try lead this time? Again, it is very choppy. You don't know when it's gonna, ultimately have the breakdown. And you can see here, had a pretty bearish week, and now it's kind of just hovering over support. I'd say, it kind of just looks unsturdy at this point. So I'd say if it can break below $30, we can come down. You can see here, we can come down to the bottom of this channel, 28, 27. So it could have followed through lower on Lee. That's what I'm looking at as well on the short side. That's all for this week. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more Wolf's weekly Wavelist videos and other content.